All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into what is honestly the ultimate mathematical secret to passively building wealth. Seriously, this concept completely rewrites the rules on how we think about our financial futures. If you've ever wondered how the wealthy actually build those massive fortunes without working around the clock, well, you're in exactly the right place. So, let's just get right to it. Would you rather work hard for your money or have your money work hard for you? I know, it sounds like a philosophical question, right? But it's actually insanely practical. Because the truth is, compound interest is the exact financial principle that gives you that choice. It's like this invisible engine that drastically ramps up your wealth over time, basically lifting the heavy burden of work off your own shoulders and dumping it straight onto your dollars. Now, before we get into the real magic of compound interest, we kind of need to set a quick baseline. And the easiest way to understand what compound interest is to look at what it isn't. Enter simple interest. At its core, simple interest is literally just the interest you earn on your principal amount. The principal is just that initial chunk of money you put in. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay, picture this. Imagine you invest $1,000 and you're getting a flat 5% simple interest rate. Year one rolls around, you make $50. That is exactly 5% of your $1,000 principal. Great. Moving into year two, you earn another $50. Year three, yep, another $50. You see where this is going. Every single year after that, you're just getting that exact same $50 payout. The return is completely flat. It's constant. I mean, it's reliable for sure, but it is definitely not growing. But now let's look at compound interest, which is honestly a totally different ballgame. Think of it as interest on interest. This happens when you take those earnings and instead of just pocketing the cash, you leave them in the account to reinvest and make even more money. Just like the name implies, it's the thing that lets you build wealth without lifting a single finger because your money is literally out there breeding more money. So let's actually see this interest on interest in action. We'll take that exact same $1,000, but this time we put it in an account that compounds annually at 5%. Year one looks exactly the same. You make $50. But assuming you leave those earnings alone, just watch what happens next. In year two, you don't just earn $50. You earn $52.50. Year three, it bumps up to $55.13. Why? Because you are adding that previous interest back into your principal pot. You're now earning 5% on a perpetually growing pile of money. All right, so here is the absolutely crucial point. Compared to that first example with simple interest, just by letting that exact same $1,000 compound over the exact same time frame, you made an extra $26.28. Now, I know, $26 doesn't exactly sound like you just won the lottery, but look at the percentage. That is 10.5% more money generated in the exact same time frame, just by letting the math do its thing. As long as you keep reinvesting that interest, your passive income is going to grow exponentially. So let's take this out of the theoretical and into the real world. Because beyond just calculating a few extra bucks in a basic savings account, we can actually use compound interest to estimate the long-term growth of an entire stock portfolio. Let's raise the stakes a bit. We're going to compare what happens when you just save your money versus what happens when you truly invest your money using the incredible power of compounding. Okay. Imagine you decide you're going to set aside $365 a year. That's literally just one single dollar a day. Now, let's say you take that cash and you just shove it into a physical safe in your house. Fast forward 1 year, you've got $365. 2 years, you're sitting on $730. After 3 years, you've got $1,095. It is a straight, flat line. It's totally linear. And you are the only one doing the heavy lifting here. Now, if you keep up this super disciplined but very linear habit for 40 straight years, you're eventually going to save up $14,600. And look, saving is undeniably important, right? It builds great financial discipline. But honestly, look at that number. Over an entire lifetime of saving, 14 grand is just not going to change your life. The harsh truth is, real life-changing wealth simply cannot be achieved without the compounding effect. So, what if we totally flipped the script? What if you took that exact same $365 a year, but instead of hiding it in a safe, you regularly invested it into something with a much higher rate of return, like the stock market? To give you an idea, historically, the average annual return of the S&P 500 is roughly 10%, and that data stretches all the way back to the 19th century. So let's explore this alternative path. If you took that same dollar a day, $365 a year, and invested it into an index fund tracking the S&P 500, your investment could be worth $396 after just 1 year. After 2 years, $832. By year 3, you're already looking at $1,311. Notice how these numbers are already pulling ahead of the cash just sitting idly in that safe? That snowball is officially starting to roll down the hill. And guys, here is where the absolute magic happens. Let's fast forward those same 40 years. Remember, you haven't contributed a single penny more out of your own pocket than you did with the safe scenario. Still just $1 a day. But because of compounding, your shares of the index fund could potentially be worth $177,771. I mean, that is just massive shock value right there. That is the sheer power of compound growth. This just perfectly illustrates this staggering contrast between the two methods. On one hand, you have a pretty measly $14,600. On the other hand, nearly $178,000. It's an absolutely wild difference, and it's 100% dictated by one simple choice: whether you let your money sit idly in a safe or whether you put it to work out in the market to compound. So to really boil down the fundamental difference here, saving basically means your money just sits idly. I mean, it's safe, sure, but it's incredibly lazy. Investing, on the other hand, means you are exponentially increasing its future value. And here's the really exciting part. As you start increasing your annual investments beyond just that $1 a day, the future value of your portfolio scales even more exponentially. Now, of course, we do have to be realistic here. Compound interest does demand one major thing from you, and that is a long-term outlook. This is definitely not a get-rich-quick scheme. It requires real patience. But in exchange for that patience, it completely amplifies your wealth trajectory. It prepares you for whatever future financial needs pop up, and ultimately, it significantly upgrades your general lifestyle. At the end of the day, it buys you freedom. So, I want to leave you with this final kind of provocative thought. You've seen the math now. You've seen the unbelievable difference that time makes. So will your money just sit idly in the dark, or are you going to put it to work? The choice is entirely up to you, but we know which path actually leads to true wealth. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I really hope this empowers you to take charge of your own financial journey. Catch you next time.